My thoughts on the state of WoW. Okay. Let's go.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Pyromancer here, and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're having a wonderful day, morning, evening, afternoon,
This guy watches my stream too.
whatever time it is, wherever you are in the world. And today I want to finally talk about a bit of a touchy subject, and that is the state of
Bill Cosby. Was that a bad joke? Okay, whatever.
World of Warcraft.
Earnings call? Wait, is the earnings call actually starting now? I thought it was in an hour. I was like almost certain that it was in an hour. It's in 25 minutes. Okay, see, exactly. Yeah, we're perfect. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's start. In 30 minutes, okay.
My opinions and thoughts on it, my hopes going into the future, and kind of my position and stance on Blizzard at the moment. I want to let you guys know right off the start. I know that this is like a touchy subject, and I'm just going to be real with you. For me, and I think for many others, there's a really good reason why people get so upset. And I think generally that is manifested in the form of anger, but I think that it comes from a place of fear. Because that's...
Are we talking about WoW? Yo, I feel like we're talking about some kind of like crazy ass like fucking like something really bad, man. Okay.
That's how it is for me. I think that there are certainly some things that I'm a little angry about. I don't voice that generally.
Okay.
But it's because I'm scared. And I think that's fair. I think that's only natural. I would like to say that I would hope that nobody wants World of Warcraft to fail, right?
Okay.
Like, I don't think many of the people that trash talk WoW before things started going downhill, I don't think many of those people were sitting around hoping that World of Warcraft was gonna die or will die, or, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
And I really believe this is true. I think most people want the game to be successful. They want it to be good.
Well,
they want it to be enjoyable. Something that they want to sit down and play all day. As Asmongold puts it,
oh,
you know, I want to ruin my life playing this game.
Yeah.
And I can relate. You know, I actually came to WoW from RuneScape. I know. And RuneScape was a hell of a grind, man. And when when they tried to put in the evolution of combat for RuneScape and try to basically turn it into WoW, scuffed WoW, I was like, fuck this, dude. I'm just gonna go play WoW then. And I fell in love with WoW, and that's where it was, you know. Let me say this.
Well, luckily for him, we have the GCD.
As someone who not only plays the game, but has, in some situations, made a living off of the game and off of content based around the game, I feel the pressure of, you know, the game's state and its path more than anybody, more than most people, right? You know, when this is what I
feel the same way, actually.
What I do my videos about. Of course it's scary. And I think that's really what it boils down to is I'm more afraid than anything because I don't want the game to fail. Now, here's some of the problems that I have with WoW right now. First of all, I think
I'll do 1.25.
The GCD change, I think, was a bad decision. I think that the game feels a little too slow now. And I think that it felt a lot better. I think it flowed better. I think it had better pacing before the GCD change. Now, thankfully, they have reverted a lot of the, especially utility and movement-based abilities with that GCD change.
Thank God. Yeah, that's true.
I still think that the game just feels a little bit too slow now. Now, with that being said, I understand a lot of the point.
I mean, how can he say that? How can he say the game is too slow if dampening only went up to 70%? In PvP, like, I mean, how could it be too slow if there's only dampening at 70%? There's no way
This
it's
guy,
too slow.
this guy's got no clue what he's talking about at
Yeah.
all.
I mean, the game is way too fast now. I mean, I can go to bed and wake back up, and sometimes the match will be over. I'm going to lose my place. I won't know what's going on.
Points that Ian brings up, especially on the live stream Q&As. And I think that I have a pretty good comprehension of why they don't do some of the things that they do, because, and it's not because of that you think you do but you don't situation, like PvP vendors. It's one of those things where I understand why they don't want to do it, but when your community is pretty much, from what I've seen, unanimously agreeing that they want PvP vendors, I don't understand why you would just continue to not do that, even if you think that it's a better system. And there are some people that do enjoy the newer gearing system better.
Let me ask, McConnell, let me ask you something. I'm gonna hear what you say about this.
Okay.
Whenever everybody in the community wants something, do you think that Blizzard has certain, like a certain obligation to deliver that?
No.
Well, do you think they should?
No.
Why not?
Just because a whole bunch of people say they want something doesn't necessarily mean they need it or they should want it. It might not be the best for them. So, you can't, just because it's the herd mentality you're always going on and on about, dude. Okay? It doesn't mean they're right. It just means they want it.
That's kind of true. I suppose that is kind of true. I think that whenever you have everybody that wants the game to work a certain way, and Blizzard is fixated on not making it work that way, I don't think that there's any value in that. And I think they should add back vendors, but I see what you're saying. I do. Because, like, that, I mean, using that logic that I was using, like, without taking into context what McConnell was saying, that's how we got LFR. So it might not necessarily be the best idea.
Exactly.
Believe it or not. I personally don't. I always liked saving up honor points and buying the pieces that I wanted to buy first, especially when there was, like, unique transmog and stuff involved. I thought that was very, very important. I'll be honest, though, with how WoW is right now, I don't find myself logging in that much. Since I stopped mythic raiding and doing progression raiding, the game doesn't really hold a lot of drive for me or value. Like, when I log in, I don't really feel inspired to go and do anything, because realistically, there's not much of a worthwhile grind, right? Like, I suppose I could log in and do Mythic Plus to get gear to do what? See, that's the problem, is like, if personally for me, if I'm not doing mythic progression, what am I getting the gear for anyway? Like, I don't care to really push high mythic keys. I'm not terribly interested in trying to push
who cares? Who gives a fuck?
or anything. And
Who cares?
So I'm kind of left with collection.
See, that's the thing. Like, you do one fucking thing. With gear, you go into PvP and you beat the shit out of people. Like, that is the only reason that you get gear. That is the only fucking point. You do your raid, you get the piece of gear, you get the new sword, you queue for a Arathi Basin, you kill nubs. That's the way it goes. That's the way it's been. That's the way it should be. That's the way it should always be. And that's what fucking works. That's how it should be. Not this fucking weird scaling bullshit. Whenever you attack somebody, you do actually less damage to them because it's scaled down that way. They won't feel too bad because they're too much shittier than you are, and then you're so much better than they are. It's like artificially put together, and you have people using gems and shitty gear for arena because it's better. Like, this is so fucking dumb, man. Like,
you gotta max out your character to see how hard you can stomp people
and you
while listening
in
to
their
Smash Mouth. Well, I mean,
yes.
That's just your sexual fantasy, dude.
That's what you do. Like, that's what you do. You go in there, like in Burning Crusade. I got my Brutal Gladiator's Bone Grinder. I remember auto-attacking somebody. It was the Great Sword, because it was a sword spec proc. I auto-attacked somebody. I sword spec procced. I took them down to half health. That shit was fucking amazing. Just like one auto-attack, they were at half health. I felt so good about myself. That's what we fucking need. That's why people got gear. You didn't go and get gear and then queue for a heroic. You got gear to queue for PvP. That's what it was always about. That was the point.
Go around and collect mounts and stuff like that. But even that, can just gets a little boring over time, because you just kind of realize that you're playing a slot machine on, super rare mounts, and I don't know how many times I've killed the Pandaria world bosses, but I'm kind of bored of doing it. You know what I mean? It's easy and it's quick. But
Yeah.
the point is that it's just getting old. And there are some things that WoW is doing really well right now. The zone design, fucking immaculate, dude. The art team slays it, man. I think some of the new mounts, especially like the Bloodseeker mounts and stuff, those are fucking dope. Like the frog mounts, amazing.
Yeah.
The cutscenes,
I agree with that.
dude. Oh my god, like the cutscenes they've never been this good in the history of WoW, obviously. And
The
that goes
Jaina
from,
cutscenes
the
were amazing.
Lordaeron launch cinematic all the way up to the questing cinematics. There's so much lore value, so much storytelling that's going on right now. You know, like people like Jaina finally coming to grips and letting go of the guilt that she carries. Sylvanas having to step out of the shadows and to an extent do some things that other people wouldn't have the will or
Being a complete bitch and turning into the Lich King 2.0 so we can kill our next expansion.
gall to do. And like I said in my other videos, I don't necessarily agree with everything Sylvanas is doing, but I think she's a much more interesting character, and I think that it's way cooler than what they do with most of their characters. I like this horde drama, and just wait, Alliance players, you're gonna get yours. Don't worry. Wait till the fucking Lightbound come in through alternate Draenor, and Yrel gets all up with Anduin, and Calia Menethil starts getting involved. Trust me, you guys, your hands ain't gonna be clean neither. Trust. That will fucking come.
Oh boy.
How does he know that's gonna happen? Wait, does that actually
this-
happen?
Well, I mean, like, you know, the Calia, who's the girl? The one that Anduin talked to in the cinematic that he's obviously gonna fuck, like the Bolvar's daughter. No, not Yrel. Like Yrel, they're just gonna, honestly, I don't even think that's gonna come to term. All right, Talia, yeah, they're obviously gonna get married, and it's not even gonna be a big thing. Like,
You have to have, dude, you have to have good and bad aspects of people for it to be
interesting.
interesting. Like, look at the fucking Bloody Baron quest in Witcher 3. Like, that dude was a fucking mess. And it
Yep.
was an interesting storyline because, you know, he did all this fucked up shit, and then you see him showing remorse and, you know, him reminiscing about his, you know, his daughter and all this other shit, and you see the context of what happened. That's an interesting fucking storyline. And then you look at this shit going on in WoW, and it's like they hired fucking high schoolers to write this shit.
Well,
it's so lazy.
Well, it's like the DeviantArt fan fiction. Like, the Blizzard was like, hey, man, let's cut out the middleman. Why don't you just work for us? And we got WoD, which was fucking garbage. Legion, I think, was okay. What did you think about the Legion lore?
It was alright.
Yeah, it was alright. I thought the Legion lore was okay. The BFA lore, I guess, the Jaina storyline is really good. But the part with Sylvanas is fucking dumb. Like, I really don't like that at all. And you're right, like, the mixed characters are more interesting. I think the best mixed character of, like, any series that I can think of is Jaime Lannister. That should be the goal of every sort of character, right? You have these terrible parts of the character and these very good parts of the character, and it makes them feel like human and real. Jaime Lannister, in my opinion, is one of the best, like, most well-crafted characters ever.
Yeah, but
And-
he's gonna die.
No, he's not.
He's 100% gonna die.
He's gonna kill Cersei. I don't think he's gonna die.
Yeah, maybe he might do that, but he's also going to die. The
I
winner is going to be Tyrion is going to win. Like if you think they would kill off Tyrion, you're mistaken. That would upset way too many people. Okay?
I think they're gonna kill Tyrion.
Anyway,
I do. I think Jon Snow is also gonna kill Daenerys. That's what I think is gonna happen. Okay, let's go back.
Stuff with the old gods, like the raids, and to an extent even the dungeons, like all that stuff is really fucking good. Like all the voice acted quests, like the island expedition hinting quests, you know, that hint at the apocalypse or the return of the Twilight Dragons, and like all that stuff in WoW currently is fucking stellar. But like I feel as though most of
Those things that he just talked about. Do any of you all know anything about that? The return of the Twilight Dragons. I'm curious. No? Yeah, me either.
yeah, who the fuck cares?
Why not? Why don't we know that? That's a good question. Like, I wish that I fucking knew.
the issues right now are coming up as like PR issues, timing issues with like store mount releases and stuff. Like I'm not against store mounts, just so you guys know. I have several of them. I'm
Wrong.
not against buying them. And I think that personally, we have enough unique mounts in the game, and I have almost 400 of them. So please
That's
hold
a
your
lot.
opinion if you don't collect mounts. I think we have enough unique, cool-looking mounts in the game that I don't get upset about the fact that the store mounts are also unique and cool, and they're optional, and they don't count towards any of the achievements for collecting mounts. So it's like you're not actually even missing out necessarily if you don't purchase them.
Oh, he's
With
a
that
store
being
mount
said,
apologist, dude.
Again, I think that
I'm not a fan. I'll have to say I'm not a fan of store mounts. I've never have been. I never will be. I think they're cancer. I will. They do count. Do they count or not? I mean,
Count for what?
the mount achievements.
Oh, yeah, they count.
Some people are saying no. Some people are saying yes. Jeez, it's so hard for me to even fucking tell.
Yes, they count. Okay, trust
Okay.
me.
a lot of the stuff in WoW is really great right now. But then there's some of the financial decisions up in Blizzard. I think some of the operational and actual, really like what it comes down to for me is like the mechanical game design. Like I don't have anything to grind for. Like on RuneScape, at least I can grind for 99 skill capes of achievement that I can use to show off that I've maxed out a skill, right? Like I have incentive to grind the fuck out of the game. But in WoW, there's nothing like that. Hell, we don't even have challenge modes anymore, even though it sounds like they might actually be bringing that back. So
that would be
just hold
great
my breath on that one. So again, if the story in WoW wasn't as fucking god tier that it is, and I'm sorry for those people that they've never read the books and they don't read the short stories, they don't know the fucking story of WoW. Okay?
Exactly, that's the problem.
They don't. If you're not reading the quest text and stuff,
Yeah.
you probably aren't keeping up that well with the story either. If you're not watching the cutscenes, you're definitely not. I'm gonna say it. The WoW story is so massive and so jumbled over so many years that most people don't actually know what the fuck is going on, and that's just all there is to it. If the WoW storyline wasn't as good as it is, I don't know what would really keep me interested in the game. Here's the thing: is that with the job cuts at Activision
Good.
Blizzard,
What is this guy smoking?
with the leadership changes,
No, what he's saying is like the story that transcends just the in-game content, like the books, the short stories, and the Sylvanas short story. I remember reading that one; it was pretty good. A lot of the short stories and everything are good. Just because the in-game stuff is bad doesn't mean that WoW doesn't have a good story. The problem is that the story isn't communicated in-game very well. That's the issue.
This shit sucks. What do you mean? I shouldn't have to read a book to fucking enjoy the game, okay? Like, look, I'll use Witcher 3 again as an example, okay? The Witcher 3 or the Witcher series is based off fucking books, okay? Like really old books, like from the 90s or 80s
Nobody's
or some shit,
debating
okay?
this.
Nobody fucking read that shit, but then you played the Witcher games and the games are fucking awesome. You know why? Because the story's communicated in a good way and it makes you think. Think about it, dumbass.
Okay. I'll take it.
CFO and all that stuff, which Bellular has been talking about a lot. And I think Bellular, I respect and value his opinions on this kind of stuff because he, being a game developer himself, I would say that he is a little more educated than most other people on the subject. And
I'd agree with that.
He tries to take a pretty relatively pragmatic approach to it. But still, at times, even I think even Bellular, is a little doom and gloom, and he knows that as well, as he's mentioned in his videos. But
I
get
wonder why.
Like he's got a whole crew of guys, editors and stuff like that, that to an extent, they kind of rely on this, that YouTube channel to pay the bills, right? So it's pretty important to him as well. So it's one of those things where I am of the opinion that I don't personally think that there's some, Illuminati scheme fucking secret takeover of Activision Blizzard, because as it's been pointed out, they're already the same fucking company. And I don't think that all of a sudden there's been this massive shift to intentionally destroy the game. And I think in the last Q&A, Ian has...
What do you think about that?
What do you say?
That the Activision, it's a conspiracy. People saying that Activision is causing the problems at Blizzard.
Of course they are. What do you mean? Activision is... It's Activision... Look, think of... you know what? I'll use terms that chat can understand because they're all retarded, okay? Asmon, you are old school Blizzard, okay? And I am Activision, okay? Now, I'm your friend, right? Now, I latched onto you just like Activision latched on to fucking Blizzard, okay? They're a cancerous leech, all right? And now Blizzard is ruined, just like your stream's ruined, okay? Does that make sense now? Activision is terrible.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, you're right. Here's all right. Listen. Activision is not directly making the game fail. I think the people in charge that are mostly comprised of Activision are setting expectations that force Blizzard into doing things that make the game fail. So they're not necessarily saying, hey, make the game fail, but they're saying, hey, meet these expectations, and the expectations make the game fail. That's what I think is happening.
Zacostas really put that together for us, where he said, we care a lot. Like, we don't want the game to suck. Like, we don't want it to be. I mean, when you think about this, think about it in just like a logical manner. Like, separate all emotions and stuff from it, and just think about it this way: if Activision Blizzard is intent on making more money, right? How does it make any logical sense for them to intentionally make changes with full intent of the reaction of those changes netting them less money, right? Like, it doesn't make sense that you would intentionally design something poorly because you would buy proxy, just kind of directly make less money, right? So I think that the whole idea that they're killing the game and stuff like that, that's very extreme. And again, I think that comes from a place of fear, which again, I totally understand.
Wait.
The call started.
The call started? Okay, just a second. We have to get started with that. We'll finish the video afterwards.
To be fair,
Now, here's what I think is going to happen, or at least what I hope happens, okay? I think WoW needs something new, and I mean new. I think there's some things we need to take into consideration here, okay? We just allegedly defeated the Burning Legion, basically the biggest bad guys in the universe, okay? Save the Void Lords, right? Gul'dan is dead. Illidan is gone at the seat of the Pantheon.
He's on cooldown.
Varian Wrynn is dead. Okay, we're about to face Queen Ashara. We basically just intervened with, and in a way uprooted, the oldest empire in World of Warcraft besides the Black Empire. That being the Zandalari Trolls. Like, the longest standing established civilization is now part of the fray. They kept themselves separated for a very long time, and they sustained themselves for a very long time that way. But even the oldest empires are beginning to crumble. That is very telling. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have Ashara and N'Zoth, and then what? After that, we probably fight the Light, and then maybe we fight the Void, but the problem is that the Light and Void are essentially one and the same, right? They even have Light Forged and Void Elves on the same faction. So I think it's pretty obvious where this is going. The Horde is turning into Death, and the Alliance is turning into Life, Light, and honestly Void. And I think that should show you something. Life, Light, and Void, they're all on the same team, whether we realize it or not, I think. And Death and Chaos are on the other side, right? So there's really only so many enemies left to fight.
It's actually true.
We're never going to confront giant shadow entity Void Lords. That's not going to happen. I promise you. If anything, the end game of World
Light
of
and
Warcraft
Dark
will be fighting the Titan Pantheon and basically destroying the gods. But I think that's actually pretty clear to me that we're kind of approaching like the climax of the story. There's not that many enemies left to fight. And it's looking like potentially Queen Ashara and N'Zoth, who we think are like two of the biggest enemies ever, might actually end up in some way or another being or becoming allies. And I think like that's so important. Like,
I don't know about that,
has stabbed
dude.
this giant sword into the planet.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
It's possible that Azeroth is going to be
That's way
waking
too
up
much
soon,
for me, man.
or dying and being reborn and breaking out of this world. I don't.
On the same team as N'Zoth.
I don't see World of Warcraft going any further than one more expansion after BFA. And I think the only thing to me there's two things really that kind of would put a pin in that, and that is the fact that they've decided to redo and revamp some of the older zones, and the fact that they've done some game optimization in 8.1, what is it, 8.1 or 8.15? It's already in the game, whatever, so I guess it would be 8.1. So, like that's the point. Like, how much more do we really have left? Like, we have Sylvanas and Anduin, two of the most favorite characters in WoW, in the forefront of the story right now. Like, the dragon aspects are now mortal after the whole Deathwing thing, so the dragon aspects are basically taken out of the slew. Odin is out of the Halls of Valor,
that was
probably
so
going back to
dumb
Ulduar to rally the Keepers, just like Odin does in Norse mythology for the final battle of Ragnarok. Like, I think we're in the end game, and I think that a lot of the players' quotes or characters' quotes, like Gul'dan, and even Gahun,
Is this his own conspiracy
suggest
theory?
this, you know, Gul'dan
Tinfoil
saying
hat?
at the end, death will inherit this world.
Yeah.
Gahun saying the seals are broken, the end is here. Like, I'm telling you, like,
This is
death,
a pretty
the
big
apocalypse, the end is
conspiracy.
coming. And so what I would really like to see from Blizzard, because I've heard that BlizzCon 2019 is supposed to be hyphy as fuck, and I kind of believe it. I'm gonna be honest with you guys,
Okay.
and I know a lot of people are not gonna agree with me on this one, but I could see them either announcing a new expansion for WoW and basically building it all on a new engine. They'd basically have to remake the whole game, which is why I'm kind of thinking it probably wouldn't be an expansion, but a continuation of the story in some regard, but like on a whole new engine, you know, new animations, new, you know,
That would be
relatively
great.
same art style, but something that could be much better optimized,
that,
something
Kujira
where
could
you can
use that.
actually do MMO things in it. You know, you can go out and have those big 20v20 or 30v30
Or 5v5.
PvP battles without lagging the fuck
crazy.
out. You know, maybe something where you can raid in a 30-man raid group and not lag the fuck out, even with a
Yeah.
beast PC. You know, I think that the game is built on an older engine, and I think that it's time, and I think it's very important for Blizzard as well. I think that it's time for something new. I think it's time for some innovation. I mean, when you think about how much has changed with the graphical processing power of computers, like graphics cards now are getting fucking insane.
Yeah.
Processors are getting insane. Like, we have hardware that's capable of running immaculate settings. And even in World of Warcraft, like what 15-year-old game,
Even in World
the
of
optimization
Warcraft,
doesn't
yeah.
really allow for
Very
optimum
high
play
intensity.
in the highest peak performance settings in the game. And I think that is very important. Like, I think that's a pretty big turnoff, and I hate to say it. I think part of the reason that it is that way is because on the lower end of the settings, it allows for people with potato computers, which I've been there. I used to rate at like 5 FPS back in Siege of Orgrimmar.
That's a lot.
People with potato computers to play the game. But I hate to say it, man, like, technology moves fast, and I think that it's going to get to the point where if they want to draw in new players, if they want to actually expand the horizons for their player base, they are going to have to do something new, and they're going to have to build something that's interesting.
I agree with
And
that.
so at BlizzCon, I'm
Yes.
hoping to hear some major announcements for World of Warcraft, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. It is entirely possible that they could actually end the world in BFA. I mean, think about the name of this expansion, the Battle for Azeroth. Like, does that not sound like the end game chapter? Like, the whole premise of WoW is the control of Azeroth. Like, whoever
guy's high
wins and
as
gets
fuck.
control. Like,
Yeah,
that's it.
that's
So
that's
for
pretty
the,
intense, man.
for the title of the expansion to basically be the basic premise of that idea, the Battle for Azeroth. Like, I think that's so obvious, isn't it? Like, I think it's super telling. Although I don't agree with
It's
how
like, but
Blizzard
you're
has
gonna-
marketed
but
this
we're gonna
expansion, 'cause I think it
win,
was a
though.
stupid
I mean, it's
fucking idea to make it
obvious.
look like Horde versus Alliance, and then
It's so
mix in
clear.
the old
Yeah.
gods stuff. Even though obviously it's now about old gods, I think that the way that they marketed BFA was fucking dumb. Personally, I think the introduction of classic servers is also very telling. Like, they're bringing out basically legacy servers during the time where we have an expansion called Battle for Azeroth. Like,
I don't know about that, dude.
come on. Yeah, I think that we're coming up on the end. And I hate to say
It's
it,
so
but
obvious.
I think that this is like the largest overarching theme of the actual Warcraft universe, is that for beautiful, new, amazing things to happen, things have to end. And with every end comes a new beginning. And I've been playing WoW for 6.5, almost 7 years now.
Yeah.
And I absolutely adore WoW. I love it. It's the best game I've ever played, hands down. I'm sorry, but there's no comparison. WoW is easily the best game I've ever played. And I'd hate to see it go, man, but I'd
true.
rather see it be replaced
Yeah.
by something new and innovative and interesting than just watch it die and fade into nothingness, hanging on to the hope that somehow they can take this 15-year-old game and revitalize it in a new and actually interesting way. Because I'm sorry, but it's hard to reinvent the wheel. Like, you can only do it so many different ways until it's tired. Now, with that being said, again, going back to BlizzCon, I would honestly at this point,
Yeah.
if Blizzard, this is my unprofessional opinion, but if Blizzard wants to not literally fucking kill their games and basically lose the majority of their fan base,
You've got to make it
BlizzCon
mobile.
2019 needs to include, I think, either a massively important expansion reveal for World of Warcraft, or the reveal of a new game. Could be set in the same universe, and I have some theories about how that could happen.
I don't think
they
so,
need to
dude.
announce Diablo 4.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be very cool if they ended up doing Diablo 4 as an MMO, where you have, as it's been discussed, city hubs where you can see other players. You have more of these MMO type vibes, an Angels and Demons style MMO. And in my opinion, preferably not in the camera style that they do Diablo in, because I'm not a big fan of that. But hey, some people really, really enjoy that.
I think it's stupid
So,
too. I don't like it.
I mean, Blizzard has said that they are working on more unannounced projects
Diablo
than
WoW
ever before.
We already had that. It's called
And I
Legion.
think that's pretty important, because I want to say two at once. They were doing Overwatch and Hearthstone, correct me if I'm wrong, at the same time. And that's two entirely new games that we didn't really know about. So what are they working on? 3 games right now? 4 games? Like,
What is this guy
Blizzard
talking
actually have planned?
about?
Because I'll keep it real with you. I don't think that they're so incompetent that they can't make good games, and I don't think that they're so incompetent that they can't make good financial decisions. Blizzard's been around for a long time, and even with Activision and Blizzard having, you know, such a intertwined model with each other, or as one company essentially.
Thank you, Kuja.
I don't think that from a business standpoint, the way that the community is perceiving the decisions made by Blizzard makes a whole lot of sense monetarily. I just don't. I find it rather illogical for them to be following the path that a lot of people think that they are. But I digress. I'm not here to defend Blizzard. I'm here to kind of just give you my opinion on the game, the state of Blizzard, and listen. I don't. I personally don't identify as a Blizzard shill. Like I said, I've been very vocal about some of the issues that I've had with the game in the past. And again, I get why people are upset, and I think that it would be dishonest to say that a lot of that does not come from a place of fear. And again, I understand how that is. So this is just my kind of thoughts on it. I don't mean to upset anybody if I did. I'm just hoping for the best, man, because there's so many opportunities, so many cool things that you could do with WoW to continue the story in the same universe and build.
This guy's applied to Blizzard 93 times.
Like I said, I have ideas for that, so maybe I'll do a video about that. If you'd like to see a video about that, go ahead and leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know. But that's pretty much it, you guys. I hope that, you know, my thoughts have been a little relatable. You know, hopefully you liked some of the ideas that I posed. And I just, like I said, I'm just hoping for the best. So I appreciate you guys very much for watching this video. If you enjoyed, please do hit the like button and make sure to hit that subscribe button to.
I think that he's right about people wanting something new. Like if they introduce another WoW expansion, I didn't get them out. What a surprise. Fucking stupid bullshit game. Oh well. If they introduce another WoW expansion, that'd be cool, but I don't know if it's gonna draw